What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia?
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here with Anne-Claire. So I'm Isabelle, I'm the Chief Product Officer at Mirakl.
And I'm Anne-Claire, Chief Data and AI Officer at Mirakl.
And after Marie, we have the difficult task to not start at 4 p.m. but 4:30. And so we thought we were going to do it a little bit lighter, maybe hopefully a little bit funnier. And if you don't laugh, we will feel a little bit sad, so please try to laugh. We are going to talk to you a little bit about our AI journey at Mirakl. But first, maybe let me give you a bit of context. Oops. In the right order, yes. So who is Mirakl? We are a B2B SaaS company that really help large retailers with e-commerce solution. So if you just didn't understand what I just said, I'll try to explain it more simply. We are trying essentially to help all those big brands right here on the screen to increase their business by launching their own marketplace, meaning inviting third-party sellers onto their website so they can increase their assortment, provide product when they don't have it, and essentially continue to grow the business. Today, Mirakl is about $11 billion of volume of business going through our platforms with just 450 customers. But actually, Mirakl, it's much more than that. We have 4 products now. Our historical product with Mirakl Platform, helping companies to launch the marketplace and dropship. But we also have advertising. We also help with catalog management. And we help with onboarding those third-party sellers. Why is it important? Because I said we only have 400 and so customers, but we are talking about billions and billions of APIs called every day. We're talking about 100,000 of merchants that are coming into the platforms. So we need to build a product around that. And luckily, we have AI to support us. So AI for us is not started yesterday. It's a 7-year journey, way before Anne-Claire or myself who joined the company. But really, for us, it has been a major investment. Today, we are super proud, obviously, to be able to release hundreds of new features every year. We have 300 folks in the product and technology team. And within that team, we have over 50 data scientists, ML engineers, and data engineers. All of that was great, and we are very happy to see we're one of the leaders in our market and so on. And then this happened. Oh dear. So yes, now LLM is a commodity. Everyone can have access to LLM. So what does it mean for us as a company? Obviously, we started right away. Everyone else had the same thing. We looked into the roadmap. What can we do? Great, we already have a great data platform. We already have a great ways to handle all those data pipelines. So let's bring our first feature. And in just 3-4 months, we have our first feature with GenAI. Amazing, right? Well, not so much, because Anne-Claire was not there yet, and also because we were learning a lot, new technology. And then technology continued to improve, and then it became the rise of agent. And then, some guy, maybe you know him, said, SaaS is dead. Another gloops for us. What is happening? What is happening to our business? Well, this is
going to be fine, yes.
Yes, this is fine. We're going to be fine. And then, so we all sit in this meeting room with devs, with PM, with the design team and our data science teams. And then there was a little bit of an awkward moment about saying, so what do we do now? That everyone is saying our business is dead. Well, we only had one option. Let's go big or we go home. And so how do we embrace the AI elephant in the room? I told you there are a lot of memes into the presentation. Obviously, we started with this. I'm sure a lot of you have done this, right? You are looking into the shiny features. How can I sprinkle a little bit of AI here and there? Let's put some magic dust, and then it will just do the trick. And then the actual problem is on the other side, and so nobody is looking at it. So obviously, we tried to challenge ourselves, and we looked at all the AI use cases that we could do. We looked into all of them, and what we decided is to really go after the use cases that was actually bringing the highest value to our customers and the highest value to us. Not only because, obviously, GenAI is costly, data scientists are costly, so we want to make sure we have ROI. but because we wanted to make sure we can tackle the biggest problem in the room. And so let me try to make it a bit more concrete for you. What we decided to do, essentially, is just change the game. We have one product at Mirakl that's called Mirakl Catalog Transformer, which is basically one of our top success. A cash cow. Very great product. We've been there for 5-7 years. Customers love it. And now we're deciding maybe instead of putting some magic AI dust everywhere, let's start to think about not AI as an addition to our product, but AI as the core foundations of our product. And so we have a big problem in the marketplace world, is that when you onboard hundreds of new sellers, they all come with their own catalog structure, taxonomy. And me, as Decathlon, Macy's, and so on, I have my own catalog structure. So how do I make it match between the two? Well, for the longest time, we do it manually. Sellers are coming with a very messy files, and we try to make sense out of it, and then we try to transform it into the taxonomy of the retailers. And of course, well, we knew the problem. So over the years, we invested a lot in machine learning. We tried to help with making sure that we can map those values on one side and the other. So how can I make sure that attributes are being mapped? Or how can I make sure valid values are being mapped? All of that just to make onboarding of catalog as fast as possible. And then GenAI happened, or LLM happened, and then now it just happened in one click. We just push a file, the magic happened in behind, and then suddenly all of the catalog information is being transformed into the right information with the right context, with the right content, and appropriately matching the DNA, the brand culture of the retailers. All of that is great, but what if I can show you some result? Without AI, it used to take for what we call merchandisers, so folks who are pushing information into a website, up to 15 days. Then we launched a bunch of AI-assisted features, and this helped quite a bit, 30%, 11 days, still a long time. And now today, with our catalog transformer, it's only 1 day or less. This is really interesting for us. Why? Because obviously it helps our customers to go to market much faster, but it actually gives back time to those merchandisers to focus on much higher value tasks. So we were excited, our customers were excited, but obviously we didn't stop there.
And so, as Isabelle mentioned, our first approach was to say, let's go big, let's tackle what creates the highest value for our customer, and let's reinvent what makes the core of our product. The second thing is we decided to go beyond chatbots, as you obviously see in this first example. And we believe something that the best AI is the AI you don't see. Okay, so I see some people smiling. This is not. This is great because I thought some of you didn't know this old folks. Some of you experimented. Maybe you were 5 years old. I was not 5. And I found these birth dates. It was in 1997. So just remember where you were. If you were on Microsoft, you remember these folks doing tick, 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 and really annoying. And the question is, now, with GenAI, we know there is more than that. But since the November 2022, the arrival of ChatGPT on the market, 2 years later, we already see a lot of chatbots everywhere. Sometimes it's really relevant because it's for customer service in B2C, because it's what creates the highest value, or this is something that creates also the most expensive cost in the company, so it's blocking your growth and everything and so on. But we still see chatbots everywhere. And why? We believe because there is something complicated in the product, is you have to go behind what you see with GenAI. You see text transformation, you see image transformation. So really the message and the learning we have, the exercise we have done is to go beyond the interface, go behind, and when you see only the potential of chat, of conversational AI, you are only seeing the emerging face of the iceberg. So go deeper. And to do that, this is not an easy job because you have to deconstruct your product. Go behind the scene and let's look at what are the functions, what are the jobs to be done for the user, and try to break it down. So if we go again to the example of Isabelle just before, on Catalog Transformer, what we did behind the scene is we break down what was the current process inside our SaaS, and we looked at, is this function, is it job to be done, the AI and Gen AI would be good at it and autonomously. So obviously, what the seller has to do and the merchant has to do behind was first transform information, extract information from text. I have the color, oh, it's not a colon in my product, the catalog, but I always put the color in the description. Second thing, enrichment. The other one, translation. And the last one, rewriting, because the expectation of the e-commerce player is to have no more than 50 characters for the title, or have to get bullet points in the description, and I have to match it. And typically, these are features, these are capabilities Gen AI is very good at. So we invite you to do the same exercise as us. Take your product. You will see this is not easy when you are the Succession family. I know, we know it. But go behind the scene, break down your product, and then after, imagine what could it look like with Gen AI. And when you see that it's feature where Gen AI is very good at, you can imagine behind the second step is what is the gap of performance we could have delegating this task to Gen AI rather than asking the human to do painfully all these tasks autonomously. The other thing is we didn't just stop at catalog transformer and on the text transformation, but we have other example about a good AI in the product is invisible AI. The other step we are reaching this year is we don't stop by just transforming text information, but we introduce a multimodal capability in our catalog transformer because the image contains a lot of information that the product doesn't get. For example, I want to have this cool dress for a casual Sunday at home or just a party. This is good because this is not something a merchant can qualify in his product description, the occasion for this dress. But this is an information typically Gen AI is very good at and can extract from the images. The other example we have on multimodal is the capability we bring also in our retail media product because we help our customer to display sponsored product of the seller in their product list page. We can just introduce a first example. What are the similar products with a relevant bid we can display as a sponsored product on a product list page, but we can go also further and without changing the interface, bring more relevant product by adding the information of the images on the similarity and bring multimodal recommendation. As you can see, I take an example of a man this time for a shirt. The first example you see is when you only use the product description to define similarity on the product. That's good, but that's not great. But when you introduce also the information contained in the image by embedding the information of the images as well as the text, you can bring more relevant product for the user, more relevant product, happy customer, and hopefully better revenues for our customer. And so for us, maybe to have just a quick overlook, what we see really and what we are painfully learning at the moment also is there is really a new challenge is also to try to reuse the design pattern we observe from this Gen AI native product. We talked a lot about Cursor, Lovable, Bolt, even a photo room was in the room this morning. And so we try to steal, as Tristan and Rémi are saying in product discovery discipline, we try to steal the design pattern they integrate in their product because the challenge is not only the conversation, the challenge is not how you automate and replace your customer. It's not the good objective, but it's more how you power them. And so there are challenges to not let the AI be a black box for the user. They need to understand, they need to be able to correct, they need to be able to interact. And so the simple element we have seen in all these Gen AI products we are trying to steal and integrate in our product as well is the ability to have a dual view between what's happening in the product, what's happening behind the scene with the AI processing the task on the behalf of the user. The second one is break down the process. you are doing maybe 5 to 6 tasks in parallel at the same time, give visibility to the user on that. He needs to know what is happening. The preview mode, I need to preview, for example, for first sample of lines, and then after, before processing all the tasks. Or suggestion mode. We see a lot of you in the example today that have integrated prompt in their user interface, and this is important to suggest what a good prompt is, what a good interaction could be. So this is very exciting. This is a huge new area for everyone. And the other one is also our third key element on our way with Isabelle was AI done is better than perfect. This is always a challenge. A lot of you told me, asked me questions during the day. How are you dealing? Do you have two product cycle, one for AI, one for product? How are you managing dependencies? And so on. And so this is part of our path on learning that. So for all the product folks in the room, you know this sentence, please go fast in production, for sure. And this is not because it's working when you do a zero-shot prompting, or this is not because it seems magical with a sample of image on a Hugging Face that it will scale inside your product. That's true, but still, go fast in production. Because one thing is perfect AI does not exist. This is something new, and you don't know how deeply it can solve user problem, what will be their reaction, and also what are sometimes the real data, because the experience is not already existing. So go fast in production. The other elements, I find a meme that reflects a lot of conversation I had over the past, I would say, decade. Better accuracy won't necessarily help. Sometimes you think, oh, I need to have less than 2% of error or 5% of errors. You don't know. Maybe there is no market fit for your feature. Maybe there is no market fit for your product. Maybe you don't know what is the good elements the user will expect by correcting the output. So don't underestimate AI and go into production just to see how the human is interacting with it. What are his problems confronting in this experience with AI, then after to iterate. To go a little bit more concrete, what it has meant on Catalog Transformer. First, the journey starts with a zero-shot prompting. It was a zero-shot prompting from our co-founder, so that was not a cool zero-shot prompting feedback. And the consequence was, whoa, the generative AI is able to tackle the problem we are trying to solve for over a decade to our seller. The second thing is we started basically by, yes, breaking down the problem, setting up an AI architecture. I won't go into this detail. And we started by using an API call with OpenAI at that time. Why? Just because this was the best. And we go in that after having evaluating the cost. When we had evaluating the cost, we realized with the number of data in input, output, number of tokens, blah, 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 it's the average cost at scale with our current volume was $500K per month. That was not viable. But we choose to go with this solution in production because first, and we have all experienced that in the past months, our strong belief is we have to build with the age of AI today because the cost will decrease and the model will improve, first conviction. And also the second one, because we knew solutions to decrease the cost. And we knew that if we had the market fit with this product, the second step was to fine-tune models. And this is not what you had done just after. So we really have released that in beta. Then after, we had feedback of the user, and while we were having the beta, we improved a lot of stuff. We wouldn't be able to improve without confronting the product to the user. The prompting, the way we were injecting context in the product, also the architecture to decrease the latency, so we improved many, many things. Still, we just called to GPT-4o this time. And the last thing we have done was, wow, more complex. We fine-tuned several models. Why? Because we realized on this journey that our big differentiator was we had the customers, we had the application, but we were able also to create specific models for e-commerce that could perform better than a generalistic foundation model. So we choose this way, and we realized that part of our value proposition was to have specific models trained on the vertical of commerce. And today we are doing that, so the value for the user is definitely, if it's, for example, a catalog we have never seen before, for sure the fine-tuned model performs less. So we still serve them with the GPT model. That is still the best today on our problem. And we assess for every new catalog the different fine-tuned model. And then after, we direct 100% of the catalog to the model that is performing the best for the user, but also that is the smaller one. So we have seen from Fronto trade-off this morning. Typically, the trade-off we have put in our product at scale is the trade-off between performance for the user and cost also in GenAI is also environmental footprint, because smaller is the model, smaller is the carbon footprint. But GenAI is not the only folks in the room. And we still are developing, let's say it, feature that brings a lot of value with our user with models. So let's not forget, AI is not just only GenAI. And to go into a recent problem we are solving with someone, and part of the team is in the room, is the price anomaly detection. Now he's looking at me. And so the price anomaly detection, the fact is we have the seller is arriving and everyone can make a mistake. Everyone can forget a zero on a price. Everyone can add a zero. It's what we call fat finger problem of pricing. And this is a basic problem, but this can create a lot of problem if the product is on the website. Either because it's a fraud, that's a big problem, or either because it's a mistake, so it creates problem on the website, customer that says, I have the screenshot, I have the proof, customer service request, and so on. But we started by just simply, and this is not something the AI team can do, it's also something the product manager can do. All this journey does not necessarily start with the data scientist in the room. You can start basically with a business rule. If you can start with a business rule, that's interesting. You are a PM, you just take the sample of data, you put that in Google Sheet, you see if you are able to detect patterns. If you are able to detect patterns, there is something a model can learn on this data. And basically, starting with a business rule can already be efficient to go into beta. You are building the user experience, you are having user feedback. Then before going to a first machine learning model. That can help also to enhance, again, the user experience and have a feedback loop also of the user. What are the number of times you have said this price is okay, this price is not okay, and what has been the reaction of the seller? And if, for example, is taking a lot of time to put a new price, maybe there is an opportunity to suggest a new price, not just say there is a problem with your price. And so that after, different iteration of the models. But while we are doing that, we are able to go fast on the market, not with a perfect solution, but iterate and have a balance also between the user experience and the algorithm, because the good algorithm doesn't make everything. And after, you can go more and more complex model. If you want to go to deep learning model, that's fine, but that should not be the first step. And so after, the big choice you have in the journey and for your feature is to select your player. As we were describing on the first part, we chose an approach at the moment to be AI-powered, but this was not the first step. We chose first to use AI to recommend to the user before reinventing totally our core product. Sometimes going and starting with assisted product could be something very valuable because it helps you to see the value and really build the product with the user and then iterate. You have to choose your game, depending if you are starting a product today, depending if you are transforming the product, depending on how competitive is your market. This is really a choice, but I think this is very important to be conscious of this choice. Am I doing an assisted product, or am I trying to jump and go forward? Because if it's clear for you as a product leader or as someone of the AI team, at least it helps you to align with everyone in the room. And one last but not least, a key ingredient is people in the product. And I will leave over the floor to Isabelle.
So if there is one thing that you probably heard today from a lot of folks is that we know AI, Gen AI, is not necessarily deterministic. And that's creating a lot of uncertainty, right? You're a PM, you used to follow a very linear process, and you know what the end of this process is going to drive to. Today, this is not true. We are getting into a point where we are not necessarily sure how it's going to be working, how it's going to turn out. So this is the objective where we are revisiting our product lifecycle, because then you can both at the same time improve your product, but then also build POC, proof of concept, that really help you test quickly, as Anne-Claire said, with different techniques, maybe AI, maybe something a little bit more rudimentary, but really keeping in mind that we are here in a very uncertain world for a lot of folks. So what it means for us is that we went back into this wonderful product lifecycle, and this is something that you know, right? We have those different inputs, like inputs from clients, your own expertise as a PM, and probably from the market, and then you go into discovery. But then, obviously,
yes, you realize that there is maybe a missing piece in the way you were currently doing the product. So there is a piece that could be interesting, that is AI expertise. I'm not saying data scientist expertise. It can be so you as a PM randomly looking at Hugging Face, picking a model, testing something, or even going on OpenAI or Dust, we have heard a lot, and let's see what it can give as a result. Oh, maybe this can create a gap of performance. And the second step we have integrated, and that is new, is in the discovery phase, what we call, we haven't found a better name, but AI POC. This is something that we can just take hours or days on that, or sometimes we will say, okay, this is a problem, we don't know how to solve it, and we have to start with a research paper. It's going to take 1 or 2 quarters. We have no choice with that. So it helps to have very early in the discussion, this discussion about what is the value and what is the time we have to spend in discovery of models or in discovery of data. And after, we can really assess, like we've shared with you on Catalog Transformer, yes, we can do it. We think we can automate in 80 or 85% or 90% of this case. And this is the amount it's going to cost us every month, but we have a solution for the next level. And so we know all the elements that are really important in the discovery. The problem, what is the gap of value if we add this additional technology in the room, and the trade-off between the value we can bring to the user, the feasibility, and the cost.
And now that we have feasibility and cost, obviously we go into conception. So having the designer, the engineer, the PM, and the data scientist into the room, we obviously think about this product that we want to work together on the conception day to have all those elements in mind as we are building into the next phase. Obviously we go into build, and then here again, we are involving our team.
And surprisingly, this is not the most complex part, because when we reach this stage, we are already clear on the solution, and we are all aligned on the solution and the time we need to spend on this first step of problem. And that is great, because by doing this design and conception together, we are also more clear about the contract of interface we will have to get, because we know what are the expected user experience.
And then we go into beta. Obviously, we're a software company, so we need to test and try. But this is a great opportunity for us also to bring the data science into the room. Earlier, we said we need to have data science, data engineers to be close to the user and understand the feedback. So this is also a great step for us to bring everyone together.
And definitely at this step, this is most of the time very eye-opening for the AI team, because we go out from this build phase where we were focused on accuracy, what are the data, the pipeline, and so on, to what is can sometimes always be hard at this stage in the product is the value is not where we thought for the user, and so we have to change our mind. Oh no, this is really important to break down from 10 to 5 minutes. This is a game changing. How can we reduce the latency, for example? And we always learn from specific and edge case. So an advice I have is also the more you anticipate all the edge case you have in the data, it's important to design for this situation also.
And then ultimately, we can finally go to general availability, and then this is the step where maybe Anne-Claire's team will be doing additional fine-tuning, and the step that everyone knows, you iterate, and then you go back onto your roadmap. So, you know what the good story is, all of this? We went from this, you know, the Venn diagram, this triad or trio of PM, UX, and dev, into this new version of the Destiny's Child, which is the quartet, and making sure that data science is also included into the game and the band at from the beginning, from the get-go, so we make sure that we release the best product. And so we wanted to make sure that you keep all of this in mind, but the key message is what? Basically, you guys already know how to do that. You've been building product for ages. It's just keeping the core competencies of doing product development, and think about always the same thing. You know, focus on the highest business and user value first. Make sure you adapt the way you work so that you can integrate with this non-deterministic nature of the Gen AI, making sure that your team is really focusing. And so the quartets, right? Remember the Destiny's Child. And ultimately, make sure that as you think about your design, it's not about the black box effect that you want to try to avoid, but really thinking about how your user experience can augment or empower your user to be in control of what AI is doing. So maybe we need to finalize, so I'm going to go very quickly on this one.
And so, yes, indeed, as a future outlook, the big challenges we see is, as we described, the design and the user experience. But it's also, we talked a lot about agent, and we realized that maybe tomorrow our users are not only the e-commerce, are not only e-commerce website, the merchants, or the end user that are using the website of our e-commerce customer, but maybe they are agents. And so the big challenge we see also in the future outlook is who are going to be our customer, for who we are going to design our experience, what are the critical elements is going to change in our product, because maybe tomorrow there will only be miracle agents that are going to be called by OpenAI agent, because people are going to buy their product directly in Perplexity or ChatGPT. This is going to be a huge, but also a very exciting challenge, specifically, I think, for designers.
And so we started this session by saying SaaS is born. Hopefully, SaaS is reborn. We gave you a bunch of tips to help you think about how you build your software. And hopefully now you're ready to tackle the new challenges with GenAI. Thank you, everyone.
And we have one question for you before you are clapping is, where is and how are you, Sarah Connor? But that was the last joke.